Hi guys, Kim here. Welcome to Backyard Blooms. In today's video, I'm going to show you how to put in a drip system for $350 or less, depending on your space. And you're asking me, well Kim, why do I need to put a drip system? Well, if you're watering hours and hours, days and days after coming home from a hard day's work and your plants are wilting and they're not happy, then you need a drip system. Or if you spent thousands and thousands of dollars on your new landscaping and you don't want it to die, then well, you need a drip system. All of these gardens here are on drip. Your box back there that you can see with the sunflowers are on drip. This is what my drip system looks right now that's hooked up to my house. The first thing that you're going to buy is this 4-way. You could buy a 2-way. I like the 4-way, that way you can hook multiple things up if you need it, and then you don't have to turn around and buy an extra piece. I really like these connectors here because they allow these things to move a little bit and get your timer away from this connector here. These are the valves that turn on and off. In order to have your drip, you have to have this water on at all times, and if you're not using your water, you turn these valves on and off. So this one right here is hooked up to this back garden here, and this side garden right here. So I have drip in all of this here, and I'll show you guys just a little bit better closer up. So we're going to go to Lowe's and I'm going to show you piece by piece everything that you need. They do not have this timer here at Lowe's, so I bought this one at Pike's Nursery in Charlotte, North Carolina. I'm sure you can get this online. I tried other timers and I was not happy with it. The valves didn't click on and off like I thought they should, and I went through them within months. So this one I've had for a good year and a half, and this is the only timer I personally will buy right now. So this one is hooked up to my side garden. This one waters my backyard. And this one waters my front yard. And this one is an extra hose that I have in the front of my house there. I'll go over the timer, how to program that with you. Then you have your backflow preventer. And this is your drip regulator. And then you have a connection that will connect your 1/2 inch tubing to the connector. It just tightens on. I'll show you guys how to do that. Then you'll run the 1/4 tubing anywhere where you do not want to run drip. So this is running along the house all the way down. And then we're going to come around. This is what the tubing looks like when you buy it in the store. 1/2 poly tubing. This comes in a 50-foot roll and a 100-foot roll. So just starting out, if you're putting it into a new house, I would go ahead and do the 100-foot roll. And this is our 1/2 copper tubing that has the emitters. So they have emitters every 12 inches. One here. One here. So here you can see where the copper tubing, which has the emitter holes, is connected to the 1/2 inch tubing here. So these are my connectors that connected from this to this. And I'll show you later how to connect these in a closer up video. So I don't need drip to run from here to here because I don't have plants here. So this is where I use the black tubing that has no emitter hose. The copper has emitter hose. So it runs along the side of the house here. I have it covered with rocks. We're going to go back over this way. Again, you can pick up that tubing there. connected there again for some reason. And then it runs underneath my sidewalk here over to this area. So this flower garden, the main 1/2 inch tubing is running along these arborvitaes in between these limelights, all the way down to the very end. And then when I put in these limelights, they needed extra water too, so I connected the 1/4 inch tubing from the 1/2 inch tubing and gave these limelights some extra water. Come down here, there's a little bit of a piece that you can see. This is the 1/4 inch tubing. It gives my limelights the extra water that they need here. So this black tubing comes off the original 1/2 inch tubing, connected with the coupler here to the copper tubing. This tubing right here has the emitters in it. The emitter is what gives your plants water. I've had this drip in this flower bed for 3 years, so everything's pretty covered. I'll try to find another area that you can see just a tad better. Again, the drip black tubing goes from this tubing over here underneath my sod. And it's been 2 years, so the sod has completely filled in. You can't even see where we had dug underneath, because you're not going to be running drip in the wintertime where it'll freeze. And these lines aren't going to freeze, so you don't have to worry about that. But this is all covered. It runs all the way down the length of these boxwoods, all the way around. And I uncovered some of my drip with this tool here. And you can see where my drip runs right here. I uncovered some of it. So it has been 2 years since I put these boxwoods in, so there's 2 years worth of mulch on top of here. But the thicker the mulch, the less weeds that you have too. You can tell that I don't have any weeds in here at all. I don't have to battle that right now. But this is where the tubing is running in front of the boxwoods. Keep these roses happy. They have the 1/4 inch tubing around each one of these roses in here. There's 5 roses in flower garden here. You can see that I have there's a little critter there. Hey, hello. So I have the drip tube from here connected. See, there's my tubing there, copper tubing, 1/4 inch tubing that's black, that is just to get you from A to B. It doesn't water from there all the way up to this box. And then in my box with a coupler, I connected the black tubing to the copper tubing, and I have it running in and out about every 6 to 8 inches all the way through my box here. You can see it right there. So I don't have to water this box either. This is my cut flower box. And you can see that it gets a little bit extra from rain, but other than that, no extra watering. But to give these flowers some extra water, I teed off that copper tubing there. To this tubing right here, and it runs the whole length of this flower bed. You place landscape staples down around your hose to keep it in place. I've got one at the end here I can show you. Again, it runs all along here, down here. So I have this little walkway right here, so I don't need drip tubing to this area. So I connected it to black tubing again. There's my black tubing. There's my connector. And then again, copper. It runs the length of the bed here. And there. So you can see the moisture of the water there. Doesn't evaporate. Plants are super happy. And then here, all the way to the end. And then my end cap. This is a landscape staple that I was telling you about. You just place it so often enough to just keep your tubing down, but once the mulch is over top of it, it stays pretty good. You can see here where I had watered something and didn't need it anymore, so I pulled the coupling out and stopped it up with this little stopper right here. Here we're at Lowe's. Come on in and we'll try to find our parts. This is outside garden area here at Lowe's. We were looking for these parts for the drip. They're not out in this area. They're in the plumbing section. But some of the pieces you can get in this outdoor section here. Watering your lawn. These are the timers. So they do have a Milner timer here, but this one only comes on in the morning with the sun. I have these when I'm watering my front and back yard. And they have the 4 shut-off valves right here and 2. And this one is $18.98. The aisle of all the drip of the Lowe's that I get all my supplies from. This is the 1/2 inch poly tubing. It just gets you from A to B. Price here is $9.28. This is the drip tubing here, 1/2 inch. This is 100 feet. Right now. I like how they have it set up here because I can just go from this all the way down to see what I need here. But this is for the micro spray. We want the pressure for the drip. It's $9.89. What it looks like. That. This right here is your backflow prevention valve. $4.98. This is what it looks like close up. Alright, so you need an end cap here. So when you end your tubing at the very end, this is what you'll place on it. 1/2 inch fitting with cap. So on mine, this is my copper tubing. When I'm finished at the end, I'll place this at the very end to cap it off so it won't leak. Make sure you tighten this tight at the very end too so it won't leak. This is a 1/4 inch black tubing here. So if you have another plant that you want and you just want to go from A to B from here, A to B that you're not going to water. And then you could place a coupling from this to this to water additional plants that are away from your drip tubing. So I have some of this at home, so I'm not going to purchase this today. This is $28.98, but it does go a long way. You need one of these. This is where we're going to punch our hole into our tubing. And there's some stoppers there if we goof up, or if you don't want drip there anymore, you can stop it up with this. But we're going to use this to punch a hole into this tubing or this tubing and connect it to the 1/4 inch tubing. And I'll display that later. So you'll need one of those. This one's just a little bit different. Hole puncher here. All-in-one tool it says, but it's the same as that. I'd actually like that one just as good. These I use all the time. Grab you a couple of these. 1/4 inch vinyl coupler. This will connect the 1/4 inch tubing, which is that tubing, to this tubing. Something that really needs a lot of water, you can connect the end of this tubing or that tubing, and at the very end, instead of putting a stopper, you can use these gallon, I think it's a half gallon, 1 gallon emitter on it. Most of my plants, this works just as well, and I really haven't had to add too many of these. Down here is my stakes, $2.49. This is what's going to hold your 1/2 inch tubing down, this tubing or this tubing. So I suggest when you start out to get 5 or 6 of these. I usually place these every, I'm going to say every 12 to 24 inches, depending on how many it takes just for the stakes to hold the tubing down. So I'm going to grab a couple of these. We're going to do a lot of pretending here. This is the system that I use. This is a quick connector. We'll connect this coil from the faucet to here. This is the old one that I have. You can tell that it just clicks on like that, a quick connector. And then you pull it up to disconnect it. I feel like it makes things a little easier. And then we have our timer. And I like the Melanor timer, personally. And then we have the backflow preventer, which is this part right here. So screw on the backflow preventer. It is plastic, so don't twist it on too tight, but tight enough for it not to leak. And then the next piece is this zipper regulator. And that's this piece right here. And then the next piece right here is a filtration system that keeps from anything getting clogged up into your system. And then next, we have a poly faucet fitting. It looks like this. So our 1/2 inch tubing is going to connect in here. And then we'll tighten this. And then this is going to go here. So we're going to show you guys how to do that. So this is what's going to connect to our faucet. here. This is going to go in here. We're going to connect our 1/2 inch tubing here. So we're going to pretend we're hooking up this system, but I'm doing small parts. So this is the fitting, the faucet fitting. We're going to place this tubing into here. Just work its way in until it's taut, like so. And then we're going to screw it on. Screws on the opposite way here. Okay, so this is how we hook up the tubing to the faucet. Right here. So we have this piece here. We're going to screw this on here, your black tubing. So this black tubing is going to go from A to B, wherever you do not want to water. So it's going to go from your faucet all the way to your flower bed. And then once you get to your flower bed, we're going to connect this black 1/2 inch tubing to this 1/2 inch tubing copper, and these have the emitters in it. Right there. This is what's going to water your plants. I'm going to take this off for right now just so it's easier for me to work with. Okay, so we have our black tubing here, 1/2 inch to 1/2 inch. This is what we're going to connect it with. So just as before, we're going to take the tubing and work its way in until it's tight, and then screw it on. And the same with this other piece here. Until it's in there, and then tighten it as well. Like so. So when you're placing this in the ground, and after you get your staples in there to hold it into the ground, because sometimes whenever you unravel this in the circle, it doesn't want to lay straight. This is the end of our copper tubing here. So after you lay all the tubing down and you're at the end of your flower bed, you're going to come back with this end piece. It's called 1/2 inch fitting with cap right here. This is what it looks like, this cap. So it's nice and secure. Alright, this is your end cap. If you do not have this end cap on tight enough, it's going to leak. Make sure it's got a little helper in there so it leaks. And tighten it tight. And whenever you test it, you want to make sure that this is not leaking. Now that we're watering our trees and shrubs, anything that is smaller, like a perennial, say you have your drip right next to your arborvitae. So it's running right in front of your arborvitae. Now we have lime lights that we have in front of that we want watered. So this is what we're going to do. You're going to take this 1/4 inch tubing. This is what the package looks like. And we're going to connect it to this tubing. So you can connect it anywhere except for where these big emitters are. And this emitter right here is really hard, and there's no way that you can punch a hole in that. So we have one here and one here. So anywhere in between here and here, we can punch a hole. So we're going to take our hole puncher right here, which just punches a little hole in here. So here we have our hole right there with this puncher. Just goes in there until it snaps, and then pull it back out. Then we have a coupler that looks like this. It's just a two-way coupler. We're going to put this coupler in this hole. Until it snaps. This is what it's going to look like. it to this 1/4 black tubing. Again, this is not going to go right up against my plant. This is just going to go from this tube to the area that we're going to water. So then you just wiggle this in. Like so. This is our black tubing. So say we're at our plant right now. So we're going to take this and we're going to cut this with either scissors. These are my Felco 2s. This is what I do all my pruning with, and it cuts well. So since I'm going to connect another 1/4 tubing to another 1/4 tubing, I need another coupler. So we're going to wiggle. This is the same one that I used here. I'm going to wiggle that in. Now we need to connect it to something else. This is my 1/4 inch copper tubing that has emitters every 12 inches. There's emitter here, another emitter here. So this is what's going to go around my drain gun. We're just pretending. Okay, so I have my coupler, black tubing, connecting it to this tubing that's going to water our plant. I typically like 5 to 6 emitters around my plant, but I'm just pretending here, so I have 3 emitters. So now, if we don't put anything at the end of this tube and we turn our irrigation on, it is just going to spew out everywhere like a big fountain. So either we put an end cap on it, which is just our little end plug right here, or if I want more water, we can put a little dripper on there that looks like this, and it will drip water at the very end. I typically find that this works good enough for everything that I need watering. So these little end plugs work good for me. They come in a little package that this comes in. And you can buy these separate as well. I'll throw that up on the screen too. Alright, so now I'm going to plug this hole up with this end cap. Wiggle it in. Girls that have weak wrists, your husbands can do this for you. They might be impressed that you showed them how to do this. Okay, so here we have it. This is going to hook up to the faucet. I've already showed you our timer. This is our 2-way connector here. This is what's going to water our plants, this 1/2 inch tubing, copper tubing. This is going to take us from A to B. We're going to put this tubing, the little tubing, the 1/4 inch copper tubing, around our limelight plant, like so. Tin your plants right here. We're going to put all of this underneath the mulch. In order to get this to stay, we have landscape staples here, and we're just going to put that into the ground, and this will hold it in place. So you might want to use 2 of these landscape staples to keep this in place, and then you put your mulch on top of it. I just made another hole there. I'm going to pull this out. You can see that's my hole. Say I don't need water to a plant anymore, and I pulled this piece out. Once you pull this piece out, if you don't stop this hole up, it's just whenever your drip system comes on, or whenever your timer comes on to water your plant, it's going to spew out this hole. So you can put a stopper in there. And that's what that looks like. Like I have just a weak spot right here. There's my little stopper. So put these little emitters right into here as well. So we're going to make another hole. Let's go down. part's where it's going to drip from, and this part right here is where we're going to go into the hole, just like we attached our coupler, like so. So instead of watering with this tube here, water will come right out next to here. So we have an emitter here and an emitter here. I like this works better for me because these emitters are already given whatever you lay this next to, enough water. You can also do black tubing here as well if you just need one of these at the very end of a plant. So I'm going to take this out. I'm going to put a coupler in there. Like so. Get some more black tubing. This is going to take me from A to B. This is not going to water my plants. Like so. And then I could put this little emitter near my plant. Little green arborvitaes and my limelights, and then I have this around my limelights. If you need something extra, another little emitter here. I have it against my sprinkler boxwoods. I have this running down the middle of my Yoshio cryptomeria trees and my flagella bushes. That's about it. Once that we have our system laid out and you've checked it to make sure there's no leaks, then we're going to cover all this back up with mulch. So none of this will show. Anything that waters your trees from here on less will use 50% less water, and there is no evaporation, so you're getting your water directly to each tree that you need to be watered. Makes them happy, makes mama happy, anybody else happy, because it doesn't take your time away to water your plants. And also I have all my containers hooked up to this drip as well. Alright, we're going to connect this drip line to my original drip system over here. This is a 1/4 inch line, and this is a 1/2 inch copper tubing that I have connected to my drip. So I'm trying to get this pot here to connect it to this drip here, so I don't have enough space. So this is my vinyl tubing right here. So we're going to cut a piece off here and make it a little bit longer so it'll fit from here to there. We're going to make a cut. I have a coupler right here. We're going to connect this tubing to this tubing so we have the length that we need. Push it on real tight. And this is a hole puncher, so this is going to punch a hole in this, and then I'm going to put another coupler on the end of this, and we're going to connect it. So every time my drip turns on twice or once a day, this pot will automatically get water. So I'm going to make a hole here. It'll make a popping sound. And we're going to connect this to this, and it'll make a little pop. So. Alright, so we have our 1/2 inch drip connected to our 1/4 drip. And then we want to stake this down so we don't really see it. And we're just going to cover it back up so we don't see any of the tubing. Now this pot is connected to drip. I'm going to go over how to use this timer here. So when you first open the package, it's got batteries in the back, so you have to put your batteries in. And it's a real easy system. So the first thing, this is the off position, and you're going to use this little triangle here. This is your menu button. So after you get your batteries in, it's got a little arrow that comes up to each little area right here. So I'm going to hit my menu button right here, and it brought it to off. I'm going to hit it again, and it brings me to set clock. So my time is already correct, so it is 2:12, so I'm okay with that. Then I'm going to hit this menu button again. Then it's going to take me to start water. Arrow right here, start water. So whatever time I want this timer to click on is what it is the time that I need to set it to. So I did this at 8 o'clock in the morning. So I'm okay with that. Then I'm going to hit the button again. Well, let me go back. Start water. You use these buttons to go back and forth to change your time. So I hit the plus button, that took me to 8:05. I'm going to take it back to 8 o'clock. And then I'm going to hit the menu button again. It's going to say how long. So this timer is for this side of my garden right here. And I have about 70 feet of flower garden here, and then half of my rose garden over here. So it is 100 degrees in Charlotte today. So I have this set on 40 minutes right now. All right, and then it's going to go, the next one, I'm going to hit the menu button again, it's going to say how often. So this is going to water my garden every 12 hours. So 8 in the morning and 8 at night, and we can change it. So if I go plus, it's going to say this will do it 40 minutes, 1 day a week. So there's no easy solution to like how much time that you need for your timer. I would just set it conservatively, and then if you notice that your plants aren't happy, then give it some more time. Or if it rains, of course you could put it on a rain delay or just turn your faucet off. But if you feel like 40 minutes is too much, then cut it back to 30 minutes in the morning and 30 minutes in the afternoon. Or you could set it for 40 minutes just to come on 1 day in the morning. I suggest morning because then it has time to dry out and not get anything too wet over nighttime. All right, we're going to hit it again, and then it brought me on my auto. So once I hook this up to the faucet, and the faucet's on, and then my valve is on as well, this timer will click on at 8 in the morning and 8 at night. You can also hit this on manual to water manually, where you just hit manual, and it'll have a how long button come on and say, I need an extra 10 minutes during the day to water my plants. I don't want to technically go out and water each plant, so I want to give it 10 minutes extra water. So just hit your manual button here, and then a timer will come up and it'll say how long, 10, 20 minutes, whatever. And then once that time goes off, it shuts off, and then it'll automatically go back to your automatic timer. This is the other side of my house. This is the system that I just showed you guys right here. I got this all hooked back up. This screws into here. Got the quick connect. And my timer's still on there on auto. Alright, so I'm going to make sure the spigot is all the way on and that this valve is on. This is the black tubing coming off this timer that I just showed you guys how to put together. Going all the way down the house here. This is a Limelight hydrangea standard that I needed some extra water to. So we have it hooked up here, connected to this black tubing with a coupler. This black tubing is just going from A to B. Connected it here to the copper tubing. Had it going around the base at least around once. And then somewhere in there we have an end cap. So this tree right here just gets water from my drip. Come back up this way. You can see on this side over here that I have the drip. I actually have the copper tubing right in from this one since it's so close up to the house and wrapped around this tree. This one as well, but my husband buried it underneath the ground so you can see that copper tubing coming off this one. And I have it under the mulch there. So to this front flower bed, you can see the black tubing going underneath this holly tree, and then it connects to copper tubing, and it wraps around this front flower bed at least twice. This container right here is on drip, and you can see that I connected from the copper tubing there up under the drain hole here all the way up, and then it weaves around this camellia, but I have dirt on top of it so you can't see, but quite happy I have not watered it. The same with these. You can see the black tubing coming up here and then connects to the copper tubing over here. So none of these planters up here are self-watering. Same with that one there, it's connected to drip. These two connected to drip as well. Over here. This little planter right here is connected to drip. Let's see here. In this flower bed, I just have the 1/4 inch tubing. I don't have the 1/2 inch. Works just as well. This is an aquapot. It's not connected to drip. So you only have to add water to this aquapot once a week. It has a reservoir at the bottom that fills the water from maybe here down. So that's how I water this. Just out of this flower bed where we were with the hydrangeas. So that tubing, black tubing, comes all the way over here and connects in this corner here. So the tubing goes between this cryptomera here and these wine and roses all the way down to the end. And then it circles around at the very end here and goes back up. So I have the 1/2 inch tubing, copper, all the way down between these shrubs and tree. Waters all of this, snakes around this clematis and rose bush here, and goes all the way back up. It's also connected to drip, so I don't have to water it. So I took the 1/4 black tubing, made a little hole up there in my planter, and then down here connected it to my copper tubing that I've already showed an example of. That's one bubblegum petunia there that came back from last year, guys. Alright, so let's go show you the other side of this flower bed. Lily Stevens here. This side's all planted up as well. Those are Sharon. You can see some of the drip here, and the tubing goes all the way back up that way to the very end. How pretty I am. Oh my gosh. And this one, put that bee in the middle there. Can you see it? This bee. Oh, that pollen on its little butt. Whoop. Junipers. I'll just have 1 1/2-inch tubing of drip that gives water to all of this. And then of course these pots have some irrigation to them as well. I need to pick these tomatoes here. You can see my irrigation going into my pot there. So that's hooked up to the 1/2-inch tubing. The black takes me from A to D. Once I want to water, hook it up to the copper tubing there. Let's see. This basil's the same way. Just my copper tubing in there. See, bees everywhere. The other side. Can't help to show you guys pretty things when I see it. And daylily. Coneflower. Hardy hibiscus. All in its glory. I hope this video was helpful. I love that I've learned to put in my own drip system and be able to help you as well. It's a win-win situation. Your plants are happy, I'm happy, and I hope you're happy. And I hope to see you in the next video.